Americans love cheese. We see it in the numbers. According to the Utah Department of Agriculture, the average person eats about 42 pounds of cheese a year. That's more than doubled since the 1970s. But our next guest says that's a trend that we should be looking at. Nutritionist Ali Essig joins us live. So, Ali, it feels like cheese is in everything these days.
Oh, it is. It's all over, and it's delicious.
Well, that it is. Now, you say, so we're eating more cheese, but that's not the only thing that's on the rise.
Yeah, obesity is also on the rise, same with heart disease, cancer, diabetes. And while, correlation does not mean causation, it is interesting to know.
Okay, so why do we crave cheese so much? I mean, what is it about cheese? We got to have it and everything.
There's actually a scientific reason. When our body digests milk proteins, it produces what's called casomorphins, which act as like a mild opiate and go, in our brain. And so that is why we are literally hardwired to crave cheese.
You think it's because of the name, queso?
Right? I know. It's kind of funny. It's casomorphins. Yeah.
Right? What are the odds? Okay. So what is the problem with cheese? I know it's got to be fatty.
The biggest problem is that it is high in saturated fat. So saturated fat is the biggest source of saturated fat in our diet is cheese, actually. And that will increase your LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol, which increases your risk of heart disease and stroke.
So obviously those are things we don't want, and I don't know if we have to swear off cheese altogether, but I know that cheese contains some things that we need to be aware of, like IFG1. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, IGF-1 is insulin-like growth factor, and it is naturally found in milk, which is a hormone that tells the cells to grow, which is great when you're a little baby cow. But as you get older, if you have more IGF-1 in your system, then that can increase your risk of certain cancers because it can also tell cancer cells to grow. So it increases your risk of breast cancer, of colorectal cancer, and even prostate cancer.
You're ruining our pizza party here, Ali. This is not what we want to hear. But I know this is an important topic here for us. How does this issue with cheese and hormones, how does that throw us off?
Well, we're not eating the same type of cheese that our grandparents ate. We are living in a world where we have factory farms and mass production. And so because of that, a lot of the milk we're drinking comes from pregnant cows. And that milk has progesterone and estrogen in it, and that is bioidentical to human hormones. On top of that, it's also fat soluble. So when you turn milk into cheese, it concentrates these hormones.
Okay, so how does that affect women in particular?
In particular, it can throw off your reproductive system. It can also, increase your mood swings through perimenopause and menopause and also increase hot flashes. But the worst thing is it can increase your risk of breast cancer.
Okay, so there's obviously some issues here that we need to be aware of. Are there any cheeses that are better for us than others?
Yes. So any type of cheese that is lower in fat, like a low-fat cottage cheese or a low-fat mozzarella cheese, is going to be a better option because you don't have that saturated fat. But I personally love, non-cheese option like nutritional yeast because it's super high in protein and lower in fat, and you don't have those other risks associated with it.
At least we know there's some options out there, because I don't think anyone's going to go, okay, I can swear off cheese altogether.
Right.
What is the main thing you want people to take away from this conversation, though?
I think, you don't need to completely cut the cheese, but we should at least cut down on the amount of cheese we're eating. We think that it's a whole food, but truthfully, it's super processed. It's high in salt, along with everything else that we talked about. So consider cutting down on your cheese intake. All
right, will do. Is there anything, if you have more helpful advice, how do we connect with you?
You can find me on YouTube and Instagram through Plant Wise is my account, because I like to teach the why behind eating more plants. So PLANTWHYS.
All right, so we'll cut the cheese for today and see how we can do for tomorrow.
Love it, love it.
We'll do. Thank you, I appreciate you being on the show.
Yep.